that's why we brought Ryan in to answer some of your questions so that he can explain the importance of grades, how we give them to you, and what you can do once you've got them. So Ryan, you want to kick it off?
I will kick it off.
Okay.
So, yeah, grades are super important to what we do.
Yeah.
At Companion Labs. They're a big part of what we had when we launched bid testing back in April. They're a big part of what we're doing right now, and they're a big part of the future. So a lot of you have gotten exposed to our grading through bid tests. So you kick up a bid test, you have different bid levels, and you want to be able to identify which ones are performing well, which ones aren't. And so we assign grades to do that. Now, a big thing with our grade assignment is we only assign a grade when there is a level of statistical significance with the performance that is reached, right? So you're not just going off your gut, you're able to make a really informed decision where when it reaches a level of statistical significance, what that basically just means in very simple terms is that the probability that you're going to see that performance continue goes way up.
Right on. Okay, so what happens if you never reach that statistical significance?
Yeah, so it's one of those things where you need to have a certain amount of data and a certain amount of performance to be able to reach statistical significance and be able to have that confidence that you're going to see that performance over a period of time. So if we don't have enough data in the system, or the performance is not really going in a specific direction, then we just don't have it yet. And so at the very beginning, if you kick off a bid test or if you CL track an ad set from Companion Labs, what you might get is I think we have a U over there, right? Yeah, so that just stands for unavailable. It just means that we haven't reached statistical significance yet to be able to assign a grade.
Right, I know a lot of our users have seen these and they're wondering, is this good or is this bad? It's neither.
It just is.
Right, it just is.
It just
exists. Okay. So what happens then if and when you get an A? What does that mean?
What that means, and we probably should have had this feature on day 1 instead of day 180, but we just released grade guides recently, and they're super helpful to understand specifically what an A means, right? So before grade guides, we would say they're good, right?
Right.
And you would have to translate what good meant to your ad account. But now if you go to app.companionlabs.com, log in, you will see your grade guides for both prospecting and remarketing, along with every goal that you optimize ad sets to. So you're able to see, okay, for purchase conversion, for prospecting, what is my performance threshold for an A versus what is my performance threshold for a B, what is my performance threshold for a C. And again, it's based on the context of your ad account and not just ad sets that you bid test or CL track, but all of the ad sets. That's what's defining those performance thresholds for prospecting and remarketing for the different goals that you're optimizing to.
Right. Okay. So when you're toggling though between prospecting and remarketing, what exactly are you doing there?
That's a good question, and I think it's really important for everybody to think about their campaigns, their ad sets, what they're optimizing to in the context of prospecting. So these are people that have never been to your website. Some people refer to it as cold traffic. Some people refer to it as customer acquisition, right? But they're campaigns or ad sets that are going to individuals in the newsfeed that have basically never really interacted with you. Maybe saw an ad before, but they've, again, never been to your website, never bought. So those are all your prospecting ad sets, and Companion Labs just automatically does this categorization for you. Remarketing are people that have come to your website, your existing customers, and so the reason why we want to delineate between the two is because think about it, if you're optimizing to purchase and you're trying to get that customer for the very first time, your cost per checkout could be $20, $25, but then for a remarketing campaign that might be doing dynamic product ads, for the first 3 days, that ad set, you might see a $2 cost per checkout on that purchase. So it's really important to delineate between an A for a performance threshold for your remarketing ad sets versus an A for a performance threshold for your prospecting campaigns, even if you're optimizing to the same goal.
Sure. Okay. So delineate a little bit for us between an A and a C.
Okay. The best way to think about our C is that, again, and it gets back to the grade guides, right? So if you're looking at your C's in your grade guides for your different goals that you're optimizing to, when you see your performance threshold for a C, you're probably going to look at that and say, that's my minimal level of acceptable performance.
Right.
Right, before I start shutting stuff off.
Right.
Right, so that's what a C should represent. The A, when you look at those performance thresholds in your grade guide, you'll likely look at them and say, that's the good stuff.
Right.
Right.
Cool. So.
And then B's basically literally in between.
Right. So we're hanging on here. Now, what about D's and F's? I know Companion Lab shuts those off automatically. That's the default, right?
For bid tests, yes.
Yes.
For bid tests, yes. So if you go to app.companionlabs.com, go to settings, you'll see that automatically shut off D's and F's for bid tests is shut off by default, just like you said. It's turned on to automatically shut them off.
To shut them off. Yes.
Yeah.
The default
Sorry
is
if I
that.
confused that.
Default is that D's and F's for bid tests, Companion Labs will just shut those off for you. But if you go to settings.
And you look at the setting for CL track ad sets.
Yes.
Right? Those we won't automatically shut off by default. And the reason for that is that if you're starting up prospecting campaigns and new ones, so fresh campaigns, and you CL track those ad sets to be able to get your grades to come in, there is going to be a period of time when you're optimizing, when you're building up those conversions,
right,
where you're probably going to be in that performance threshold, but the trend arrow should be going up.